How you
What's
doing?
up? How are you? Good.
Buzzing, mate. Really, really buzzing for this. I mean, I'm going to get so mad about this. I'm awesome, awesome. I can't wait, mate. Honestly, so pleased that you could give us your time this evening because I'm so inspired by your career, your journey, everything. You've broken the status quo. You've come back from a fledgling career in soccer, right? You got all the way over to America. You were
Yeah.
buzzing for that, and then you've turned it around. Look at you now. You're like global superstar with barbering. Who would have ever thought that? How did that come about?
Yeah, I mean, I never actually, for me, like, I was never into hairdressing, never into barbering. Like, I didn't even really know much about it. I think for most of my life, like my younger child years, my mom used to just cut my hair in the kitchen with like a bowl around my head and just give me the classic fringe. So for me, like, I was never really into it that much. I just didn't know about it. And then obviously when I broke my leg in America, I had to come home after a scholarship. I came back to Dublin, and I kind of was just a bit like, okay, what am I going to do now? You know, what is there? Where do I go from here? So I did a few other jobs. I actually coached a bit, and I did some teaching and dance and like just some other stuff. And then one of my friends actually started barbering, and he just introduced me to the whole world and the whole industry of it. And I think, like, literally it took me probably a couple of months of just getting completely like fascinated with this industry and this life. And you know, obviously social media had only kind of, it hadn't probably taken off in the industry, but it was there. You know, there was people
Yeah,
online that you could kind of see around the world of doing these kind of um like being in the hair industry. And I think I just fell in love with it from day one and just really decided, okay, let me push myself as much as I did.
can we get personal? And like, how did it feel
Yeah,
when
definitely.
that opportunity was sort of like? Because I know a couple of friends, like models I work with, and you know they were out in Sydney, broke their leg, couldn't do football anymore, and you've had to come home and like really face that.
I think it took a while for me to make that decision. It took about a year after the break, so I was still
Yeah,
there, kind of just going to college. But I think it made it harder being in college, being around the team, and seeing maybe what I could be doing, you know. And
yeah,
I think it was just best off for me. Like at the time, I was like, I'm just going home, and it was very kind of teenage metal, like teenage dramatic kind of experience. I'm going home. Fuck this. And I went
I've made a
home.
few of those exits in my time.
Yeah. I think, yeah, I went home, and to be honest, like I'm not saying it was all like I went home and I was a barber and everything happened and it was amazing. Like I went home and it was probably a year or two of just not really knowing what was next or what I was going to do. And I think
Yeah,
I just think I'm so grateful about finding hair, finding barbering, finding the industry, and finding that passion again. That it's just made me. It's just given me that kind of spark again, you know. So I think, although it was sad what I went through, it was also maybe, as I said, everything, as I always say, everything kind of happens for a reason, I hope. And maybe this was the
yeah.
path I was meant to go on, you know.
You know, I was quite lucky. By the time I actually got around to hairdressing, I always wanted to be in fashion. It was always going to be like session, but I wanted, you know, I trained with Tony and Guy in Cambridge and took my apprenticeship. But I was not. I was think I was 20 years old. So I was like 19. I think I just passed that cusp where I realised, well, look, I don't want to sweep up hair for 2 years.
Yeah.
I want to learn hairdressing. You know, so I was stood behind everybody watching everything. I was doing the graft that needed to be done. But I said, well, look, let me work one less day. I have 2 days off, and then I do models twice a week, 2 days a week, and I come in and did like two models every afternoon, and cutting my mate's hair in the evening. And then, you know, within 1 year, I was on the shop floor, and you
Yeah.
know, and within 2 years, I was addicted to cutting hair. I could not put my scissors down. You know, and it was that, and the hunger to learn,
That's it.
you know, the desire to one, keep improving, but I was so involved in the art.
I truly believe in always putting yourself out of your comfort zone and just testing
Yeah,
yourself. And I feel like they are the times that you learn. And they are the times that you grow as a person, or like even in terms of your career, you push yourself, you grow, you learn more. And I think I've always had that from the very start. So, you know, moving to Berlin on my own without knowing anybody was obviously a massive risk for me personally, and also for my career, you know, starting off. But I think obviously that's the challenging times, and they are the times
mm.
that you are going to kind of push yourself. So it's always been the way that I've worked, is like, okay, I'm getting a little bit content here, let me push myself and throw myself into the deep end and see, can I swim, you know? So
you've clearly got the passion, you've got the skills, you've got and you've got the graft. You know, I think it's hard work. It's hard work in the end that gets you there. It gets anybody anywhere. You know, there's a few questions like, what does it take to open your shop? And you know, and one of the things, I've never opened a shop, but I've worked in plenty and helped them at the top tier. You know, how to market it, put it together, get the teamwork going. And you know, it's graft. It's hard graft, basically. You put the work in. One of the things, you know, one of the mentors, like the promotional speakers I always listen to, guy called Gary Vaynerchuk from New York.
Yeah, I've read his.
He's awesome.
Book.
Yeah, and he just tells it out. He swears at everybody. You know, it's brilliant. But there's always a moment that catches me, and it's where somebody's like, "Oh, look, Gary, you know, I've got this. I'm trying to do this, and then I work like 9 to 6." And he's just like, "All right, great. Well, what do you do between 7 and 2?"
Yeah. I've read. Yeah.
It's like, if you want it, you know, you got to keep going until the early hours in the morning, and you know, and then you will get there. There is no shortcut. So to clarify, so everyone's clear, it's called Unit 8.
Unit 8, yeah. Not Unit 3. But actually, Connor Clinch, I don't know if you know Connor Clinch, he's an amazing Irish photographer. He was the one, he said to me, you know what, it's actually probably better it's Unit 8 because you'll just get a load of English saying, say 3, 32. So I was like, actually, they'd be just dragging me saying I can't pronounce the name of my own space. So yeah, Unit 8 by Hayden on Hillier Road in Hackney. That's where it is.
Like the big thing, like for us with Crozier, it was always like a website, and then we were a bit more hands-on, trying to go into shops, teach about sort of like fashionable education, content, trends, all this kind of stuff. So when like the pandemic hit for us, we were like, well, what can we do? How are we going to service this digitally? And so now we've like switched up, and hopefully we're on the road again, you know, and it's good. But we're trying to, you know, the point is for us now, we believe that everybody's social media is going to be so important, and that's the part that we want to play, is to sort of like help people fill their social media and communicate and sell their story. But it's like, how have you analysed, you know, how important it is for you? What's your vibe for that? Like, what part is social media going to play in your new place?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's actually like, obviously I always say, starting off, you know, your passion, your talent and all of that obviously comes first. The way you treat a client, when you have a client in your chair, that goes beyond anything in the world. But social media has given me so many opportunities, and it's played a massive part in where I've been, my experiences, and how I've kind of grown as a barber. So I think, you know, it's always going to be a massive thing for me, and it's always going to be a big part of what I do. And I think one of the reasons why, obviously I mentioned before that I got this studio space was so that I could put out more content. And I think, you know, for me as a young barber when I started, so I'm self-taught, so I was a junior barber, sweeping floors, shadowing, but at the very start, I never went to college. I never had, you know, had a 2-year hairdressing apprentice or anything like that. So I think, you know, and one of the reasons why was because it was just too expensive for what I could afford coming back. And, you know, like you see courses now that are just obviously, you know, you pay a lot for them. And as a young barber, I just couldn't afford that. So,
right, any course is not worth the money compared to what you can learn just standing there watching somebody cut hair,
asking questions
and doing it, getting a model and just shadowing. I mean, that's how I learned. And you know, do by all means, you know, do it. You need a course. It's going to teach you the techniques and to keep going, and it's a great grounding. But your real schooling is going to come when you stand and watch and you learn and you crack on the shop floor. I just think, especially from a business point of view, we always kind of say, I mean, I love that whole concept. I mean, if anybody watches any of our other lives, so it's a running theme is that, you know, sharing. You've got to keep your knowledge. I believe you've got to give it away. You know, and it's important. It's the evolution of life. Is, you know, to learn something and then teach someone else. So then they can do better than what you did, and then they can, you know, that's how everything is kind of built. And we have a responsibility in our industry to keep people inspired, you know, keep them striving, keep them building, bigger, better, different haircuts, whatever. You know, or fashion, or knowledge, or even if it's just life skills. I mean, the life skills that you learn in hairdressing, I think, are just amazing. To stay positive. Positivity is a huge thing. You know, so even just sharing the knowledge on how you stay positive that's a shame to hear, though, that you're still getting negativity. I mean, like, your work and feeds are amazing. So, like, I mean,
think,
shocks
like,
me
I
that.
think I remember, sorry for cutting over there. I remember my first ever stage show, and I was about 8 months into cutting hair. And I was on stage with 3 other guys from Dublin, and it was a packed out venue in Glasgow called the Fruit Market Hall, I think it's called. And it was this barber show that I was up, and I got asked to do it, and I was like the first female to go up there, and there was a lot of people trying to look for female barbers and trying to find inspiration. And one of the lads was like, "Here, will you do it?" You know, and I was like, "Oh, I can't. Like, I've only really started." And I was like, "Come on, you'll be grand. We'll be with you." And I remember at one point in that stage, you know, I was shaking. My hands were like this, you know. And the camera came up, and there's a big screen behind you. And the camera came up, and as the camera came up to video what I was doing, the guy presenting it asked me a question, and so I just froze. My hands were shaking, and I was like, you know, like just blubbery mess. And I caught my hand shaking on the screen, so obviously panicked a bit. And I remember on that day, obviously I did the haircut then, it was fine. The haircut ended up actually being great. It was on my little brother, so I knew how to cut his hair. I was like, right, grand. And so presented the model and whatever, and every single person in that crowd came up, fair play to you. They all knew I was only cutting hair like a while, and like, well done, your haircut was smashing. And there was one person in that crowd that came up and was like, yeah, the haircut's all right, but pity about your shakes and all, and the way you spoke. And I was just like, but that one comment I focused on for weeks after, you know. I was like, oh my God, this person. And that's what we do as humans. We do that. We don't focus on the 100 amazing things that people say. It's always the one comment that kind of gets to us. And that happens to everyone, you know. I mean, I don't care who you are in the world. Negativity will get you, and them comments will hurt you. And I think for me, that's why I realized, you know, especially having a social media platform that's so open and so out there, you're going to get them comments, and you're going to get them probably daily. And I think the easiest way to deal with that is just to not let it get in your way, and just like, that's why I always say, people might think, you know, oh, what, like, you should respond or you should do this, but just delete and blocking any negativity just gets it out of the way. And I think for me, that's an important way to deal with it, because it means I'm not losing my energy or losing my, you know, losing energy.
It's all about energy, isn't it?
Things. And I'm not putting my energy into that. I'm actually just getting rid of it. So all my energy left can be focused on putting into something positive or putting into something else. And I think that's the key in social media, is to know that you're going to get sick, but just get it out of your face, you know, deal with it, move on. Like, from very early on, you kind of understand in the hair industry, like, you're constantly putting yourself out there to be vulnerable and to, you know, be out there into the world, and whether that be in a barbershop with a walk-in waiting line, sitting there watching you as you're cut, you know, whatever it is, like, even from the smallest scale of things, you're always going to put yourself out there, and it's your work, and it's what you do, and it's what comes from you. So I think, like, you know, you just have to be confident with it, and you have to also understand that you will doubt yourself. Barbers, hairdressers are the biggest perfectionists in the world, and they'll never like what they do. They might think, okay, that's all right, but they'll always think they can do better next time, you know? I think that's something we all have, and it's something that probably doesn't go away no matter how high you get up there. But
I think it's the artist, isn't it? It's the artist in people. It's the creative. It's like suddenly, even like, I need people to love it, and even when they say they love it, I'm still like, I can do better. I'll do better next time. You know, but that's that back to, I think you've got to keep striving, keep pushing you. That's that hunger to learn. You know, to learn how to. Well, let me go away and think about how I can do that better for you. Even though you love it, I want it. And then, you know, that's the thing. Like, keeping clients, running a clientele, running a business is. Well, how can I build on that service? How can I build on that experience? How can I make that amazing experience? How can I make that hairdo 10% better next time.
Yeah.
You know, that's how you keep people. That's how you build people. And that's how you build a brand, right?
Definitely.
It's like, you've got to keep pushing that story.